Flashes of Summer 16. As my depression fizzled out that summer, my ability to play music confidently came back. The band I joined was called Sporadic Ecstatics, and I was the synthesizer player, something that was employed sparingly for songs I did not write. I did think my role in the band was pretty important though, simply because I added a cosmic atmosphere to the otherwise generic sound of a jam band. But my lack of music theory knowledge rendered me expendable in the eyes of my bandmates. Regardless, I enjoyed myself enough playing a few live shows with them, and I also enjoyed the resurgence of my solo project. I haven't spoken much about where my musical career was going in those few years of college, mostly because it wasn't seriously going anywhere. But after being inspired by DSL and seeing Boogerins live, I got a new sampler with more professional sounding drum samples on it and revamped my style. I stayed in contact with Boogerins after the show through Facebook and other social media, and even shared some new songs with them. They gave their props, but this wasn't the breakout moment for me by any means, at least not yet. Still, Sporadic Ecstatics played a few basement shows that summer, and I decided to connect to DSL before one of them. The come-up went pleasantly, as I enjoyed listening to music in my room and made my way to the basement we were to play in. One of the girls who lived there remarked, "I like DSL Steverino," as if I wasn't as likeable without my toes dipped in the great unknown. Then the night went swimmingly. I played a solo electronic set before the band's set. We killed the show, and I met a lady afterward. I told her my pitch for my prospective novel, The Fool of the Wood, and she was so interested that she, in her words, couldn't say no to coming home with me after a story like that. Boy, did that do wonders for my ego. We had a terribly drunken session of intercourse that didn't go anything like the way I wanted it to, but there it was. Another DSL day that summer comes to mind. I went to see my friend Paolo's musical theatre production. The show wasn't a proper musical, but a series of songs performed live alongside a modern dance. Paolo played the guitar, while his girlfriend Marge danced with her sister and also played bass. Then there was the drummer Martin, who had been present in the DSL fiasco of Ron and Jerry, and he was a beast on the drum kit. I felt an immense sense of bliss as I witnessed these individuals express themselves artistically in real time, and in their ripest form yet, no less. I particularly remember their cover of Feeling Yourself Disintegrate by the Flaming Lips, which almost brought me to tears. Having already gone through the more visual aspects of the connection earlier in the day, though, I was able to be social after the show, and avoided the social anxiety that looms for those travelling in the great unknown. Then there was the DSL night, where I almost got lucky with a woman named Kat. Her and her friend came over for some green power and to drink alk with me and Andreas. Somehow Kat and I commenced to make out in my room while Andreas and her friend made their way downstairs. I couldn't believe how well it was going with her. But then as she and her friend were leaving to go back to their place, I somehow mistook their exit as an offer for me to join. They paused and turned around as I was following them out the door. "Oh, sorry. I thought you said you wanted me to join you." I sounded innocent enough. Kat smiled and approached me, planted a kiss on my mouth, and slightly bit my lip in the process. "Yo, mama," she said in a forced low voice. I shuddered some nervous laughter because it was all that made sense to do after a series of events like that. On that note they left, and I went upstairs to talk to Andreas about what had just happened. It was an odd night, and definitely the last time I was going to go after Kat. Who the fuck says "yo mama" and just walks away? Only someone who is trying to fuck with you.